Welcome back to CTV Morning Live. Many of us are welcoming family and friends to our homes this holiday season. Etiquette expert Kimberly Law has some tips for both hosts and guests that we can all use. And Kimberly, thanks for joining us this morning. You're the perfect person to have here at this time of the year. Before I get to very specific questions, we were just mentioning before we came on that it really is just, from the very basics, a very stressful time of the year to be going to parties or hosting parties compared to, say, a summer party.
It's very stressful at this time of the year. I think everybody feels it, but at the same time, it's a great time to celebrate with people that you're good friends with and your family, so it's a nice time of the year, too. So
yeah, no, it is, isn't it? Yeah. Well, okay, let's get right to it. I'm going to host a party. How do let's run through the points. I'm hosting a party. What can I do to be a great host?
Well, to be a great host, first of all, you want to think about what your guests have in common. So think about things that they will have to talk about, because your job as a host, you want the environment to be very relaxed. You want everybody to have a good time. And if you're thinking about, oh, these people have absolutely nothing in common, it's very difficult for them, and it also makes your job a lot harder as well. The invitation, the way that you send out the invitation can also be very important. So if you send out written invitations to some people, you don't want to call somebody else at the last minute and say, oh, why don't you come to my party or get my gathering? And also the way that you invite people as well can be very important, because you want to give as much information in the invitation as possible. So things like, how to dress for the occasion is always a good idea. So if it's a more formal gathering or a more casual gathering can be important. The time frame, if you're planning a meal, it's always a good idea to kind of give people the details about what time the meal will be served. So
good points,
if people are drifting in late, you at least can give them a heads up about that so they can prepare as well. And also the ending, the time as well, can also be a good idea in the invitation as well, so people know ahead of time.
It's good to know. I've never had that on my parties, actually, the end time. Just try to clear out some time. It's funny you mentioned about food, too, is that, it can sometimes be awkward getting the right wording about, of course, say, bring your own spirits, but also, can you let's all contribute and bring food? I mean, how would you structure that in an invite?
Well, potlucks and bring your own bottle type parties are great for friends and family, but with people you don't know very well, it can be a little bit awkward. So I would suggest keeping it for people that are close to you, that you can, sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles, parents, where you can call them up and say, oh, would you mind bringing a dish?
Yeah,
or,
sure.
My budget's a little tight this year. We're just going to be very casual and bring a bottle of wine or something like that.
Okay.
It's better.
Okay, to the other side of the coin now is a guest. What do I have to do? I know Ann Lou is always having parties that I don't get invited to, but...
Is there a reason for that?
Well, because I didn't ask if I could stay for 3 or 4 days, but anyway, as a guest, what are some of the points you want to go over for how to make sure I get the invite back?
Well, first of all, RSVP. A lot of people think that RSVP really isn't that important, but always make sure you RSVP within the time frame specified in the invitation. Don't just show up the day of the gathering or call that morning and say, oh, by the way, I'm coming, and by the way, I'm bringing 5 people with me at the same time.
That's not good.
So definitely that. You want to always be on your best behavior. Bringing a nice host gift is a good idea. So some people like to bring, it could be a bottle of wine, it could be, poinsettia, small wrap gift, something like that is a nice gesture. What a lot of people don't realize, though, is unless it's specified in the invitation to bring a bottle of wine, that bottle of wine should actually be meant as a gift for the host.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't expect that it's going to be open during dinner. So don't arrive there and say, oh, I'll have the wine out of this bottle. Exactly.
Not a good
So wait for the guest to lead the way, because the host to lead the way, because the host really should be leading the way to make sure, to let people know what's expected at the party as well. So.
Okay, and another thing that a lot of people are going to be doing this year is that first meeting with the in-laws. Again, let's go through a few points for people out there that may be going through this. What are a few things that you should consider?
Well, what I would suggest is you want to prepare ahead of time, you want to be on your best behavior, and you want to dress appropriately. So prepare ahead of time by finding out as much as you can about the in-laws as possible. If you're the host, you want to make sure that you really have a good understanding of, what your in-laws are going to like and not like. I always suggest that the relative and common, it weighs heavily on them to make sure that they prepare both sides ahead of time.
Good points.
Because it can be very, very uncomfortable, and often that person in common, they don't really realize how uncomfortable it is for the other parties. So, you know, if you're going to be going to your future parent-in-laws, for example, you want to, you know, make sure that you're going to be on your best behavior. Some people like it when people make themselves at home in their home. You know, they put their feet up on the couch or, you know,
sure.
whatever, or go into their fridge, you know, oh, help yourself, it's no big deal. But other people find things like that very appalling.
Okay, well, I think we're going to have you all this information on our website. I appreciate you coming in today because I picked up a lot of points. For more information, as mentioned, on any of the tips we've discussed this morning, check out our website, ctvmorninglive.ca.